What type of person did you swear to never turn into growing up, but did anyway? As a kid who grew up on the internet and social media, I will not give my kids access to social media or anything like that until they reach a certain age. I always thought I would be a laid-back dad, but now I realize there's a difference between laid-back and deadbeat. Number 12-year-olds should be watching brains spill out on Live Leak or get panic attacks because they saw some fear-mongering news article that says the world is ending. Unfortunately, my parents didn't restrict me on the internet, which fucked me up a little bit, but ultimately I'm glad because it taught me what not to do. A lazy person with no ambition. I always hated my dad for not working hard enough. He just worked 5 hours a day and had a nice salary but still complained about how hard he had to work. He had almost the whole day left, still he complained how he is struggling to make both ends meet. He just sat on a chair and watched TV the rest of the day. I swear I will never be like him. I will have a goal and chase it daily. But I am afraid I am turning into him. Lately I have been scrolling through the Instant for 6 hours even though I had important exams coming up. I always said I'd never smoke cigarettes and becoming a chain smoker. I started when I was 16 in high school. Just quit a little over 2 years ago when I was 32. I was smoking 3 packs a day when the pandemic started and couldn't stop. My grandma smoked 3 packs of Virginia Slims a day until she died. Non-stop chain smoking. I thought smoking pot daily growing up was a bad thing. I looked down upon kids in school who did it all the time. I despised marijuana. Now I smoke daily and never saw myself doing that. An office schmo. I swore I would never work in one. I'd rather have a blue-collar or creative job than be tied to a desk all day. Nor would I ever be a suburbanite, leave it to Beaver Golly G. Willikers middle American dad with all that comes with it. Basically I thought I'd end up like the dude Lebowski. I am an IT manager, with short hair, an 18-year-old kid, a mortgage, a Subaru, and a dog. I even sit on boards and shit. WTF happened? I never expected I'd be so resentful towards people, always tried to see their bright side, but here I am. I used to not understand my teenager colleagues who complained negatively about people in their life. I tried to look at the positive side of people. Here I am 15 years later, being disappointed over and over again, and I just don't trust people the same anymore. I am much more realistic, less idealistic. I always thought I would keep up with trends and slang, keep being a cool internet kid and never end up as an old person who just doesn't get what the youth are into. Boy, did it not work at all. I just woke up one day and realized I had no idea what the hell TikTok, Fortnite, and all these weird memes and phrases mean. Lol. I'm acutely aware I'm old and you know what, it's fun. I never thought I'd be something other than a devout Christian good girl. Never thought I'd wear makeup. Never planned to drink. Now wearing makeup is a fun experimental opportunity. I'm a bartender, and while I still believe in the deity end of Christianity, I've lost all faith in the human end of it. Much more spiritual now. Never thought I'd be LGBTQ either, but surprise, my grandpa lol. Angry and never gave people the benefit of the doubt, but I'm all out of charity you need to earn. Though I would always be the person to try not assume everyone is out to get it, turns out most strangers are, so that's what I've become. Zero patience for people or their BS or lies. I don't try to understand why anymore. Someone who smokes cigarettes. My father actually died of lung cancer, and ever since then, I've been trying to get my mom to give up smoking. She lied to me for 6 months, told me she did stop. In July, I discovered the truth and decided that I, too, would start smoking. Petty, hypocritical and essentially self-destructive, I know, but it is what it is. A person who judges people by their looks. Had longer hair for a guy growing up in the country in the 70s. I swore I'd never be that judgmental, and I have succeeded to the point I don't yell at strangers or insult people for how they look. I have failed though in my head, thinking why would you tattoo your face and fill it with scrap metal? The woman that would get married, learn to cook, gain a bunch of weight and become obsessed with her TV shows. I'd watch my mom get so sucked into her novellas I thought it was silly. I can't wait for Only Murders in the Building tonight after work. I'm gonna make some lemon butter Dijon chicken with orzo for dinner to go with it. An alcoholic and a stoner. Used to smoke 20-30 bongs a day and drink almost a 1-liter bottle of vodka a day. Thankfully it only took me a year to realize, and luckily I've still got the rest of my life to look forward to. I'm only 23. I'm still sorry for all the shit and chaos I caused everyone during it, but I'm trying to make it up. A selfish and more conservative person. I'm still very liberal and I consider myself generous. But as I grew older, I started putting myself before anything else and my perspectives have definitely changed. Moving from the coast to the Midwest also definitely affected my characteristics. You see both sides and start to understand. I always thought I'd be a single solo full-time traveler and writer. I loathed the idea of marriage and domesticity. Writer, yes, but I'm happily married and we're about to buy a house. I still do some solo travel, but I'm happiest playing video games on my PC while my wife plays video games on her PS5 10 feet away lol. Someone who likes girly things and pink. I went hardcore against all things feminine when I was a tween, and now? I love gardening, sewing, the color pink, and plushies. I will wear dresses and skirts when I have the chance to. I don't know how to apply makeup very well, but I try for special occasions. A drug addict. Had a stint with heroin that led to an odd. I was incredibly lucky to survive. After 4 years sober, I ended a 6-year relationship and relapsed just in time for fentanyl to flood the market. Bought fake pressed pills and relapsed for 1 year. I'm going on 9 months clean now. Quit in January. Exactly the person I am now. Young me would despise the person I am now. I had big dreams as a kid and wanted to go to school, didn't want to get tattoos or get involved drinking and smoking. I'm not an alcoholic or an addict, but I still think young me would be very disappointed in who I have become. I love to party, so much that I thought I would be able to do it forever. I used to think people who weren't living like me were lovers. Fast forward to my mid-30s, and I'm not only glad I don't party like that anymore, my opinions on people that don't have also changed. All part of growing up. My dad had his own home remodeling business when I was a kid. Almost every weekend involved at least one trip to Home Depot. I fucking hated it. It was so boring to me. Now that I'm almost 40 and have my own home, I'm stoked whenever I have a reason to go there. Especially for a new tool. I actually thought I'd be dead before I even made it to 30, and I'm not just saying that, I truly lived a life that justified that stance. Now I'm 10 years beyond that age and can barely believe it. I see no reason why I won't be here for at least another 30 or 40 years, it's nuts lol. Working late hours, putting the career above family time. As a young, tenure-tracked professor, I hate how much I fucking work, but at the end of the day it's what pays the bills and allows my kids to have a relatively comfortable life. Hopefully things will settle down in a few years. The person who lives in the city I grew up in. I totally hated it growing up. Turns out I just hated the one pretentious suburb I lived in, and actually truly love the city. Came back after college because it was 2009 and there were no jobs and ended up staying. Love it now. I've yelled at my teenage kids on occasion. Certainly not commonly, but more than I vowed I would if I ever had kids, when I was their age. On rare occasions they're completely exasperating little assholes and I just can't stop myself. Always feel like shit afterward too. Get off my lawn. Seriously, I don't like it when neighborhood kids chill on my front lawn while waiting for the school bus. They're not leaving trash or harming anything, they're my lawn. I tamp it down and don't say anything. I don't want to be that guy at 43, the guy who lets lifestyle creep force him to work so hard and be successful, yet never satisfied and feel it is ever enough. 20-year-old me planned to just retire and enjoy life when he is worth half of what I am now, and yet retirement is nowhere in sight. Being an atheist. I was a Christian for 30 years and then, after searching for the historical Jesus, could not in good conscience defend my beliefs. Christians, please do not take this as an opportunity to challenge me on this, you won't change my mind. Alcohol is becoming a crutch. Not there yet, but it's getting there. Can still go a week or so at a time with no drink, but on hard days I need that drink as. I really don't want to become an alcoholic, but life seems to be getting more difficult. Reactive. My stepdads growing up were easily pissed off. I hated it and feared asking anything for so long. I find myself becoming angry too easy, so now I am in therapy and I apologize to people. I am working on myself. They should have, too, damn it. I used to laugh at my grandma's fashion choices and swear that I would never stop trying to look attractive. Now I am 100 granny panties and stretchy pants, and most of my fashion choices are for my comfort rather than to please the eyes of others. Being feminine and girly. I used to hate the thought of being a girl. I had internalized misogyny. Now I love cute girly things, clothes and everything. I want to drown myself in pink and Hello Kitty. I would legit buy a car just for being pink. The same mean nasty girls I was in high school that relentlessly bullied, harassed and tortured other people. I was an evil cheerleader. Not a cheerleader anymore, but a stripper now. I still do the same mean-spirited things in the locker. To not be the kind of parent who told my kids to not do something just because I said so. I had a great dad, but he was sort of authoritarian. I explained why or why not to my kids as they grew up. I think it helped them. A homebody. In my early 20s I would never miss an opportunity to go out on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night and couldn't understand why my parents would waste a perfectly good weekend night, just to stay home. Now I get it. Man, do I get it! I always told myself that I would not tell my child because I said so because I hated it so much when my parents said that to me. Well, turns out, you can't explain every little thing to them. Because I said so is a necessity. I swore I'd never stop being goofy. That I'd always try to find the positive and wouldn't give up hope. But then life happened. It's hard staying an emotionally sensitive and caring person when so many people are just plain mean. So many adults who don't know how to talk to kids, as if they have no idea how kids think and act. I always found this strange because all adults are kids at one point. No, yeah, I'm the adult who has no idea how to talk to kids. I grew up in rural Kansas on a farm, so the last thing I wanted to be was a city slicker. Cut to 30 years later and I live in a bachelor pad 40 floors up with a private chef in the heart of Manhattan. What have I become? I grew up in a pseudo-cult, and kids who grew up to leave the cult were always looked down on and their families ostracized. I thought to myself I'll never be that kid. Thankfully I got out and have never been happier. A 40-year-old woman looking at 20-something muscular tattooed big-armed men with, appetite. Never thought I would be one of those. But I tell you man, those hormones. You don't know until you know 40s are great, hee hee.